there seems to be a new rule with Victoria Police. So if there's a protest on, that's all right, they allow the protest. But if you turn up and you have a different mind or you want to counter-protest, it seems to me you get moved on. Our next guest was arrested at the Invasion Day protest in the CBD yesterday. He describes himself as a citizen journalist. Avi Yemeni, good afternoon.
G'day, Tom. How you going?
Good. So what happened to you yesterday?
So just a short correction is that's what I do for work. I go to all sorts of protests around the world and I interview people. Now, the people at the Invasion Day protest, I guess they were a little bit hurt from last year's video that copped a few million hits, where it just showed that none of them actually knew what the date was. So when I came to the protest, after I did interview a number of people, and the usual suspects, these are people that I see at every single protest. They seem to care about every matter that is left-wing or far left-wing. And they obviously started getting quite rowdy and trying to intimidate me. And instead of police moving them on, police tried to move me on using the Section 6 of the Summary Offences Act. The thing is, it's happened to me a few times now. So
slow down. What's Section 6 of the Summary Offences Act?
So it's a power to move on a person. But the problem is, for police, that if somebody is coming, and under the Act, it can't validly be exercised if you're coming to speak or otherwise behaving in a way that is apparently intended to publicise a person's view about a particular issue, meaning they can't actually move me on. And I've got the full video is going up tonight on TR.NEWS, where you can see from the beginning to end how I went there and how police approached me, how I pulled the officers.
What are the police alleging that you did? Like, they must have given you a reason when they arrested you.
So it's quite funny. When they first walked up to me, they tried the Section 6. The officers didn't even understand Section 6. I pulled it out of my back pocket and I showed them that they couldn't actually move me on. So then, as it started to escalate, as the crowd became more violent, it was the really radical leftists there that were getting really rowdy. They then told me they were arresting me for my own safety.
Right.
And you can't make this stuff up. Now, as it progressed further on, I was actually mic'd up the whole time, so I had all the conversation for 20 minutes. I'm handcuffed on the side of the road for my own safety, Tom. And
right.
At the end, they couldn't. They didn't charge me. They let me go, but they questioned me about, at the end, hindering police, because obviously they couldn't get me on the section. Yeah. Now, they're not going to win. I'm taking them to court. I'm taking Victoria Police on.
Okay, well, we won't get too much into that because that's possibly before the courts. But, I mean, you know, were you doing anything to the protesters that might have been considered illegal? I mean, were you obstructing them or...?
Absolutely not. Unless it's illegal to make idiots look like idiots, that's all I was doing. And I encourage all your listeners tonight, go and check out TR.NEWS and watch the full video, and you be the judge. You don't have to like me, but I never get violent at these things. Last time I was there, I was physically attacked, and one man was arrested. So I come to these protesters, and my mere presence makes these people violent, so they have to arrest me for my own protection. Right. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, and do you think you were actually in any danger? Like, I mean, do the police have grounds to arrest you?
Yes, they will get violent. These protesters, these radical leftists will get violent. But you know what? That's part of my job. I go, I also work in Hong Kong, so I'm used to it. But at the end of the day, I've never been in a situation where I've been arrested for my own safety.
That is a new one. All right, thank you, Avi. Appreciate your time. Avi Yemeni there. So he does... his job appears to be turning up to left-wing protests, of which there are a great number: Extinction Rebellion, Climate Justice, Invasion Day, you name it, there's a protest. And I've seen some of his videos, and he just asks them questions like, for example, what is the meaning of Australia Day? Like, you're protesting against it, what is it? They'll say, Captain Cook, Federation, no, and they don't know half the time. Interesting observation that there's a lot of professional protesters who just turn up to all these things. Anyway, that is a new one. We might ask Victoria Police tomorrow. Do you have the power to arrest someone for their own protection? Frederick, hello.
G'day, Tom. You get professional protesters. You also get professional agitators. And that guy sounded like a professional agitator to me.
Well, I've seen his videos. He goes along and he asks people questions about what they're protesting about. And look, a lot of them don't know the answers. Like they protest against Australia Day, but they can't actually tell you what Australia Day actually is.
I get that, but people. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that people get. They get. I mean, he was clearly hyper. People get hyper at these protests as well, and you get somebody in your face. I mean, the police probably already warned him. Hey, you need to back off.
Oh, maybe, Frederick, but if the protesters are allowed to march down the streets and shut them off and say, change Australia Day is racist. One of them was holding up a sign. We've printed this out saying James Cook, as in Captain Cook, is see you next Tuesday. Now, that sort of thing is, I think, if they're allowed to do that, surely someone like Avi Yemeni is allowed to walk up alongside of them and saying, hey, what do you want about? What are you doing here?